Noel.
You brought up another interesting point that I absolutely love. You are going to have to elaborate on this. You hate Dave Ramsey. I've heard. There's a rumor that has that out there.
I think Dave Ramsey's soul is just as precious as yours and mine. And career-wise, I hate what he teaches.
Let's talk about it, because I am in that same camp where I am not a fan of Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman. I don't think it's a wealth type of mentality. I just, a lot of their stuff, like you say, to save and hoard and live a small life. And so there's some philosophies that I completely disagree, but I would love to hear your take on it, because you first said the Dave Ramsey type, been saving money, realize they don't have enough.
Noel, my big issue with Dave is time. Time is my most valuable asset. And when I talk to people that follow Dave Ramsey, they'll say things like this. Oh yeah, I got in Dave's program and it's now been 7 years and I've got 40% of all my debts paid off. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, hey, cool. By the time you're in your 40s or your 50s, you'll have become debt-free. There's only one problem. Debt-free is not secure.
Right.
Like let's just say a person says, I made it. I have no debt. I'm like, awesome. So quit your job. And they're like, well, I can't do that.
It is time for you to change your life. You need to come to the Grow Your Wealth event, September 27th through the 29th in sunny Orlando, Florida. We literally are having a 3-day event with me, Noel Randall, where I am going to be teaching you about getting business credit, getting approved so you get business funding, and how to use those business funds to create wealth for yourself. You literally can use business credit and business funding to get millions of dollars in funding in your business's name and use that funding to buy income generating assets. You can buy real estate, you can buy stocks, you can buy inventory for your business. You can actually grow your wealth, and you do not have to rely on your personal credit and your personal savings. There is so much money out there available for businesses, and it is time for you to learn how to do that and grow your wealth. Get your tickets right now. We are selling out quickly, and you can use code YouTube to save. Go right to the checkout right now, growyourwealthevent.com. Use the code YouTube and save right now. I cannot wait to see you September 27th. Don't be late. Let's go. Right.
Like let's just say a person says, I made it. I have no debt. I'm like, awesome. So quit your job. And they're like, well, I can't do that. Well, why not? Well, it costs money to live and eat and travel and do stuff and presents for the grandkids and stuff. Oh, so you're telling me that no debt is just a level of security and it's a false sense of security because you're actually going to have to reverse mortgage your house or sell it if you actually want to have more money because you're out. Right. Well, got news for you. Here's my advice. I tell people, I say, hey, if you got debts to pay off, are they single digit or double digit? Because when I invest in real estate, like we just completed a 10-year longitudinal study of the last 2,500 single family homes that I bought. And my average ROI is annually over 60%.
Wow.
And I want you to just think for a moment how insane that number is. That's not on one home or 10 deals. That is an average across 2,500 homes. So when I meet people and they say, well, yeah, I got credit card debt that, and student loans and stuff at like 5 and 6%. I'm like, cool, don't pay them off. Go invest and earn a double digit, like 20 or 30%, because 30 is bigger than 5. Then use your gains and pay off the debt later. But and then I tell people, I was like, but if your debt's eating you alive, if you've got double digit credit card debts at 15, 20, 30%, you're probably gonna have to pay those off, because all wealth building is arbitrage. Yeah. And people don't understand this one powerful word. Arbitrage is the delta between what you borrow at and what you lend at. If I can borrow money from a bank today at 8% interest rates, people love complaining about these interest rates, but I'm making 50%. I don't mind borrowing at 8 and making 50. It works for me. It's okay. But you see, people are financially dumb and uneducated. They've got debts, at like, let's call it 10%, or let's say student loan even at 5%. And they finally work their butt off to save some money. I'm like, go invest. And they're not. They're going to eliminate their debt. And all that does is waste time. So mathematically, these people, they're the ones that by the time they're in their 40s and 50s are like, I did it. I'm debt free. And I'm like, cool. Like, you're an inch of the way of where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to use your time to let your money compound.
Yeah.
We're playing that game.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's funny because you actually have another video on YouTube, over 2.1 million views, that you should never pay off your house.
Yep. That upsets a lot of people. That upsets a lot of
So
people.
that goes against the Dave Ramsey thing. And I'm not one that pays off houses. Like I said, I'm more like you, where I would get the line of credit, then use it to get more real estate, et cetera, et cetera. That's how I was taught. So kind of the same thing. So when you're saying never pay off your house, what do you mean?
I got one caveat. You tell me you want to pay off your debt. You tell me you want to pay off your house. I say, good. Do that only after you achieve this one thing. A passive income that is equal or greater to the expenses of your ideal lifestyle.
Okay.
When is it time? Because when you pay something off, what you're basically doing is retiring money. And for most people, their house is their cheapest debt that they have. So they're misprioritizing. They're supposed to focus on investing. You see, in life, you've got the people that are reckless. You've got the accumulators, the penny pinchers, and then you got the investors. The reckless never have money. The penny pinchers, by the way, never live life. And they, by the way, they can't accumulate enough in 40 years to have enough anyway. So like they're literally dedicating their entire life to a philosophy that doesn't work for 99% of people. But in the middle, you have the investor. And here's what the investor says. I'm going to delay gratification in the beginning. I'm not going to own luxury things. I'm not going to prioritize a nice house, a nice car. I'm not going to own nice jewelry. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it simple, but not because I'm living in fear and scarcity. What I'm doing is I'm saving my money for investments. I'm not saving it for retirement. That's where people go wrong. People, for example, they get seduced every day by the 401k match. And that's like, hey, it's free money, right? If I put up 3 to 5% of my income, the company will match me. This is smart. I want the free money. I'm like, well, it's actually the dumbest thing that you could do. Like, why? Well, first of all, you can't touch the money, right? You're going to be penalized if you touch it. If it's active 401k, you can't have it. Second of all, the 20-year study on 401k that just came out reveals that you're earning 4.2% on it with inflation at 4.1. You get nothing. You're awarded no points. It's over. And you think there's tax benefits? That's a scam. That's hoping you're going to pay taxes when you're 65 or when you're 42. All you're hoping is that when you retire, you have a lower income so that your tax bracket goes down. This is stupid. Money today is way better than money tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. I'm just like, I got you fired up too. You're like,
I tell a little bit. You're asking me all the fired up questions,
like,
Noelle.
Got you going. Okay, so another Dave Ramsey-ism, obviously, paying down debts. Okay, he loves telling people to pay down debts. He also loves, like you said, putting money into retirement.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, we, you and I, the investor type, the entrepreneurial type, there's a lot of risk, obviously, in what we do.
Yes.
And one of the things that I always am, against with Dave Ramsey is some of the aversion to risk. Yes. And I just feel like what are you going to die? We're all just going to die. So, at what point, when do you start living? When do you start getting the things that you want to do? So kind of talk to me about your life philosophy, because I think that's really important too. Obviously it's a riskier thing to be an entrepreneur. We know that like every day is not sunshine and strawberries. So why do you think people should take that risk? What's kind of your philosophy on risk and entrepreneurship?
Well, first of all, I'm not a fan of risk. I'm a huge fan of calculated risk. And see, the greatest risk is not taking any risk at all. Everyone thinks that if their money is earning really low single-digit ROIs, hey, it's sitting in an annuity earning 3.1%. Hey, it's sitting in my 401k earning 4.2. Hey, it's sitting in an IRA earning 6%. My blended average is less than 5%. Cool. Let's take a look at your philosophy. Let's bump it up. Let's say everything's earning 6%. That's very generous. You have $50,000 you've worked your butt off for, and you are earning 6% on it. So guess what happens in 2 decades? Half your working life, 40-year working life, halfway through it. What happens to 50K over 20 years at 6%? It triples. It becomes $160,000. But you see, what I do is I already know that is an awful risk. No risk is an awful risk, because by the time you get to 65 years old, the average American in retirement, 401ks and IRAs, has $254,000. But at that time, they're spending $84,000 a year, which means all they did was spend 40 years to save 3 years. But modern medicine is going to keep you alive for decades. We're not living anymore into our 70s and 80s. We're going beyond that. And so we're all screwed, but we just don't know it because we're so safe and risk averse. When I put my money in real estate, by the way, I don't touch a deal unless I'm earning at least 25%.
Okay.
And the reason why is $50,000 as a down payment on a property at 25%. That's my minimum rule. For that same 20 years, doesn't triple like a 401k IRA to 160 grand. It becomes $4.3 million.
Yeah.
And 4.3 is not rich, but it is enough for a basic six-figure retirement. That means that you never have to touch the principal, and there's over $100,000 left over every single year, replenishing, growing at 10%. That right there does take some calculated risk. And if you don't do it the right way, you're going to get, battered and bruised. I got people, Noelle, that follow me on social media, and they actually partner with me, and they're going to give up half the profits by putting up all the money, but my average ROIs are really high. And even if I go with my adjusted low average ROI of 34%, my money over 20 years, that 50K turns into potentially $17.4 million.
Nice.
So here's what people don't get. They don't understand that single digit ROIs are the riskiest investment of your life. If you can find a way to get to a 25% ROI, which is easy in real estate, read my books, you can get to a 25% ROI over 2 decades, you're going to retire with millions. If you can go from 25 to 34, just 9% more by being more professional on the choices of properties that you buy and where you buy them and how you buy them, well, then you can 4x that to $17 million. Well, now we've got people that have a great life. And this is why 90% of all millionaires in this country made it in real estate.